viewers, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the FIITVII Watch GT5 Pro Max, and it's a really fun watch. And after my time getting to use it, I realized that like the gap between big brand smartwatches and even the small ones is starting to shrink. On top of that, there's starting to become a blur between the lines between what I can classify as a fitness tracker and what are now smartwatches. But before I even get into all that good stuff, just make sure you subscribe so you stay tuned for more videos like this into the future. So, as I mentioned, this is a really fun smartwatch. Like, I had a great time using it. It was fun to use, but there's one glaring aspect of watches that really aren't big brand company watches that stood out to me, and it continues to stand out to me, and it's going to be a decisive factor for people that are going to be deciding if they really want to just go on a limb and just get some of this, if you're not trying to like go and get like big brand type stuff. So starting off, this watch, it has a really good looking screen, but that is already a foreshadowing of what I am going to complain about maybe at the end of the video. But the look of the watch is really cool. It also has the sensors at the bottom. Just looks like what you expect from a standard watch, right? Like, and on top of that, going with the Pro Max name, it kind of has also the look. So there's the button at the side, and as well, it has 50 different, or roughly so, different sport modes. And that's what, for me, it starts to blur the lines between what exactly is a fitness tracker and a smartwatch now. Like at this point, like they pretty much all have the same functionalities, the same features. So you have your blood pressure monitor, you have your blood glucose monitor, all that stuff, and even stress levels. And it's going to a point where it's like, okay, well, that's kind of like a minimum. That's kind of like a bar for all the smartwatches now in the market, right? So it's like, if you can provide me that, then what exactly makes you stand out? What exactly makes you different from that other smartwatch company that I'm looking at, or that other smartwatch company that I'm trying to buy, right? Like, so it really makes things very narrow in the market now, where it's like, okay, they pretty much offer the same things, but what's going to make one side interesting, what's going to make one stand out? So for one, this one is very comfortable. Now, my pet peeve when I'm getting like, so for me, I'm looking through the lens as someone who has owned an Apple Watch. So for me, everything, it's a little skewed. I'll be honest, right? Like, my perspective is a little, is looking through the lens of after having have worn an Apple smartwatch on my wrist. So for me, my pet peeve is when I get some of them smartwatches, and bro, it just feels like I'm putting on like thorns and spikes, or like putting some, like, if it's the same rule of thumb that I have for when I get headphones and earphones, where it's like, okay, comfort makes or breaks the device, kind of applies also to smartwatches, right? So if I get one that's really uncomfortable, man, it's going to be so hard for me to recommend it to anybody in my family or my friends, right? So this one, very comfortable, and I didn't find the strap flying open all too often, which I did a lot with some other brands. If you haven't seen my other reviews on the channel, it's a really good smartwatch. It also has like some really cool features. It's IP67 water resistant, which is really cool. But at the same time, it also has a voice assistant. So at least they try to like, the same way that Google has its voice assistant, Google Assistant, the same way that Apple has Siri, and the same way that Samsung has Bixby. So it's their way. Of course, they can't have their own, because it takes a lot of money and investment to have like AI capabilities, and to have your own voice assistant. But it's really cool that they have that, at least, right? Like, you at least have something, right? It's better to have that than to have nothing. They try at least to make it special. The screen looks really great, and this is where comes my gripe with it, right? Or where like you start to notice how the big brands kind of separate themselves, and it's in terms of quality. So if you're going to make something rivaling the price of like the big company type smartwatches, and then you have to rival them in almost every other aspect as well, including quality. So I'm not trying to say I'm clumsy, I but I've dropped my Apple Watch like a ton, like a lot of times, right? But it's still like, you might just see like a couple, maybe not even a couple scratches, like maybe like 180. Like, you have to look real close. Like, what are you doing looking that close at my armrest for? But with this, like, after a couple drops, and I know I've dropped it way less than my Apple Watch, because I've had that way longer than this. But with this, I dropped it, and the screen kind of has a scratch on it, maybe a scratch or two, and it's very visible. And on top of that, especially when I rub my finger on it, then I can definitely tell it's there. And it's just this is where the big brands kind of separate themselves from the smaller brands, in that you start to notice this noticeable difference in quality, where the small brands are still trying to play catch up. And I feel like once they hit that nail on the head, then it's going to be much better, because once the quality is there, then it's going to be at least more viable, because quality means a lot. Like, you don't want to get something you don't know if it's gonna last for a while and how long it's going to last. Now, I'd say the best feature about this smartwatch is 100% hands down the battery life. Like, I'd just be charging it for a few minutes and it'll last literally flat out 10 days. And that, like, I'd be there'd be times where I forget that I even have to charge it. Like, I just wake up, strap on, and go ahead and go to class, and it'll be fine. I come home, use it again. Like, it's one of the unbeaten features of this smartwatch is the battery life, where it's crazy good, crazy ridiculous. And honestly, I didn't realize how handy that come in, because like the longer you go without charging something, the more like it just feels natural and part of use, or like part of you in your day-to-day life. And it's just literally the best feature, hands down. And this watch has, it has like pretty cool smart watch faces. And for me, I love customizability. Like, I like to make something my own. I like to feel as though I put my own imprint on it. I like to customize UIs. I like to change the backgrounds. And one of the things I want to see, like, small brand companies go away from is the look of the UI. So like when you get text messages, it just looks like old Android. And like I don't even mind like if they keep like the old Android, but like but at least make it look, like make it stand out, make it look cool, make it like pop out. Because like you leave it at like Android, it just like you get a text message, it looks like you got an email. It's like you know, like eh, like it just doesn't look good, right? So like I'd prefer it if they like made it like just an upgrade to what the oldies kind of do. It just looks like it just looks bland, in my opinion. I don't like that. But at the end of the day, anyways, bottom line is what I think is the best thing about this smartwatch is definitely the battery life. But it just doesn't have to be that. I think it's a really cool smartwatch, right? I'm just looking from a lens where like I want them to be better, which is why sometimes my critiques will be a little harsh. But by no means don't think that it's not a viable or good smartwatch. It's really good, and if you're just trying to go off a limb and get something different, I say why not? Like it's that good. But if you're also gonna be having second thoughts, I say the only reason you should be having second thoughts is right now the quality, and I'm talking about the hardware quality of this smartwatch just hasn't caught up to the big brands yet. But let me know what you think. That's just my opinion. JEDIJA. I'm out.